Hey, Brian here with worshiptutorials.com. This is another in our frequently asked questions video series. Today, we're going to talk about haters. And I use that term sort of in a broad sense to talk about anyone who is sort of trying to discourage you, I should say. And the reason I want to talk about this is I've been doing a series of live events here on YouTube, just to kind of, YouTube has sort of made some changes to the way they do live events, and I just wanted to test it out. Plus I bought some new equipment that allows me to stream live in really high quality. And so I wanted to test it out. So I've done a few myself, and Bradford did one with me recently. And it's just been a cool opportunity for me to connect with you. And it allows you to ask questions of me, and I plan to do live events in the future. So as a side note, I've actually thought about having a specific time every week that I have like a live show. So you know that it's coming, like, it would probably be on Fridays, probably in the mid-afternoon on the East Coast, so maybe 3 or 4 p.m. Friday. Every Friday it would be live. You could hang out with me. But anyway, the last one, it was kind of a recurring theme of questions that Bradford and I were fielding about what do you do when people tell you that you're not good enough, or they tell you that you don't have what it takes. And that's what I mean by haters, because I also I deal with that a lot here on YouTube. Having a lot of videos up, I get a lot of nasty comments. And now I should say that the ratio of really positive comments to really negative comments is far in the favor of positive comments. And that's because you all are an awesome community, and you're extremely encouraging to me and to the others that are in these videos that help me here with worship tutorials. And we're very grateful for you. There are a few people who like to leave really nasty comments, and a lot of times it's just kind of like people trolling, you know. They're just trying to elicit a response. But sometimes people genuinely feel like what we're doing is really not good. But I've noticed a lot of you sort of come to our defense, and that's really cool. So we appreciate that about you. But also in my personal life, I have had people speak into my life that you're not talented enough to lead worship. You're not strong enough vocally. You're not a good enough guitar player or musician. You are not experienced enough to be doing this effectively at the level that you want to do it. So on and so forth. And from our experience in this last live video cast, many of you experienced that as well. So here's my advice to you. And if you don't do this, I believe this can be life-changing. I would advise you, and this is what I've done, I would advise you to surround yourself with a small group of people that speak into your life, that encourage you, that tell you where you need to improve, that tell you where you're doing really well, that give you tools and equip you to improve in the areas where you have weaknesses. And to everybody else, you shouldn't care what they think. And that's exactly how I feel. All of the people on YouTube, all of the people who leave comments that are negative, I literally could not care less what they think. To people in my life who have spoken these things into my life that are not part of this circle, for lack of a better word, I don't care what you think. And that might sound harsh, but you can't, because if you take everything in and internalize it and let it beat you up, it's just nothing good will come of that. So like I said, find a select group of people, and these people have to earn this for you. They need to be people that you trust. They need to be people that you have a strong personal relationship with. They need to be people who are, for lack of a better word, experts, or at least experienced in the field that it is. So if you're a worship leader, they need to be people who know what it takes to be a good worship leader. They need to be able to point out your strengths as well as your weaknesses. But I would say this, and if you're a person who likes to speak into other people's lives, whether they do good or bad, and you want to point that out, I would hope that anytime somebody tells you that here's an area of weakness for you, you really need to get better at this if you want to go to the next level, or if you want to remain at the level you're at, I would hope that they equip you in some way, that they either resource you themselves and maybe mentor you, or they point you to resources that will allow you to improve. I think that's really important, because it doesn't really do much good to tell somebody that they're not good at something. It does a lot of good to tell somebody that they're not as good as they could be at something, and then point them in a direction that will help them improve and become as good as they can be. Now, when it comes to YouTube videos, if you make YouTube videos like I do, sort of the more subscribers you get, the more views you get, the more hateful comments you will get. It just happens. And you know, typically when a channel gets that many subscribers, they get a lot of hate. Like I said earlier, that doesn't happen for me that much, and it's because of how great you guys are. But if you do run into that, the same principle applies. You should not care at all what those people say. Now, if you have people in your circle that are telling you the same kinds of things, like say you're not very strong vocally, then maybe you should get voice lessons or something and become as strong as you can possibly be. But if you're a person who leaves negative comments, I think we both know why you do it, and that's probably so you can tear other people down so that you can feel better yourself. And I have found that most people who do say nasty things to people or leave very hurtful comments do it because they are themselves insecure. They are themselves jealous of the person that they're trying to take down. I would just tell you that the person that is going to hurt most in the long run in this whole scenario is you, not the person you're trying to take down. And if you're a person who leaves negative comments, and this makes you want to leave a really negative comment for me, I encourage you to swing for the fences. Give me your best shot. And this is how I personally deal with it. If somebody does leave me a really nasty comment, if there's profanity in it or really hateful language, abusive language, I'll delete it immediately, because the audience that watches Worship Tutorials videos does not want to see that, and I don't want to subject them to it. So if you do that, I will delete it immediately and I will ban you. I don't like deleting comments though, because I don't want to be one of these guys who curates their comments and leaves only really positive stuff. I do want to be honest about what it is that I do, and if there is an overwhelming response that this is not very good, then that does tell me something, though that hasn't been the case typically. But I don't ever try and, sometimes I do respond, but I try not to respond to negative comments. Now, if it's like civil and you're actually asking me a question or you're pointing something out and you want a response, I'll respond to you. But if it's just a straight hateful comment, I typically don't. What I like to do though, is I like to write a very eloquent response, because I like to write and I like to read. And so I'll come up with like these just ridiculous, very long-winded, eloquent responses to hater comments, and I'll just email them or text them to all my friends, and we laugh about them. Because, these comments, it does hurt when somebody says something nasty to you. And so it just kind of helps me get over that initial hurt and be like, I don't really care about that. I don't really care what that person has to say, because they haven't earned the right to speak into my life. And that's kind of how I do it. Plus, we get a good laugh, my friends and I do. Maybe if you'd like to be in on that comment thread, you can let me know below, and maybe we'll get like an email thing going here. But yeah, I don't really like to respond to comments on YouTube. I would encourage you not to as well if you make YouTube videos. So I hope this was helpful for you. Be encouraged. If you constantly have people discouraging you, I would ask yourself, or not constantly, but if you do from time to time, ask yourself, who is this person that's saying these things? What right have they earned to say them to me? Is this a person worthy of listening to? And if they aren't, then don't. If they are, then I hope that they would help build you up rather than only tear you down. If you have a question for the Frequently Asked Questions series, ask it below. Head over to Worship Tutorials. Send me a comment in the contact page. I'd love to hear from you. See you next time. Bye.